Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to discuss the top 5 apps that I think you need when traveling to the country of Colombia. I traveled to Colombia earlier this year, visiting the cities of Medellin, Cartagena, Cali, and Bogota, so I feel like I have a good idea of what apps you should download and what can help make your travel experience just all that much better. I do a lot of travel content, dating abroad content, and different Christian philosophy. So if you like that, you should like and subscribe to the channel so you can see more content like this. Anyways, let me get into the video here, and let me start off with the number 1 app. Now, the number 1 app you should have when visiting the country of Colombia is an app called Airlo. And what Airlo does is it's essentially a mobile data app. I'll open it up here for you, and it allows you to have mobile data in any country you go to when traveling. You can go ahead and look for the country of Colombia on your phone here, and then you just download one of the packages, 3-5 gigabytes. It doesn't cost that much money. It costs like $10-15. And as soon as you set foot in the country, all you have to do is activate the eSIM. Make sure your phone actually allows you to have an eSIM, but if you activate the eSIM, then as soon as you touch down in that country and activate it, you'll have mobile data. You can use all your other apps, use all your other communication devices. You just essentially can't use your phone messaging app at that point, because it's not a full SIM for that purpose, but it allows you to have all your mobile data for all those reasons, and so you'll be able to use all your other apps, and you'll never run into any issues where you don't have Wi-Fi or your Wi-Fi is cutting in and out and you can't use your phone at all, which you really need in Colombia because you definitely want to be able to contact people at any point in this country. Since Colombia is definitely a country that is lower on the safety scale, you want to make sure you have a good Wi-Fi or data plan so that you can always reach someone at any point. The second most important app for visiting Colombia is the app called Uber. Now, many of you are familiar with Uber from the United States. Many of you are familiar with Uber from the United States, and the app works similar to here, but it's a little different because Uber is technically not legal in the country of Colombia, but it still works perfectly here. I used it in every city I visited. You just have to follow a little different protocols. Open up the app and schedule your driver, but typically you're going to get in the front seat to look like you're a friend of the driver or it's a taxi situation because it technically is illegal. And if the driver's picking you up from the airport, you might have to walk just a short distance until you can get into his car. But because Colombia is so cheap when it comes to transportation, especially Ubers or taxis, it's going to be well worth it to Uber everywhere, even if you feel like you can walk some places just for the safety reasons. And I highly, highly recommend you take Uber over any of the public funded taxis because those are not really connected to an app. They can't track somebody if something goes wrong or if there's a situation where you get you overcharged for your run. Okay, so just download the app of Uber. It's so cheap. Okay, most of your car ride situations are going to be $2-3, $4 or $5 at max. Maybe if you're getting picked up from the airport in Medellin, you have to go all the way into town. That might be $10 or $15. It's really cheap, guys, the transportation. So just download Uber, and you can even use the speed call to up the price, and that's not going to be breaking the bank on your trip. So make sure your transportation is good. Download Uber, and then you'll be set whenever you need to get anywhere. There's Ubers everywhere in the big city. I've never experienced an issue with having to find one, so you can go ahead and download that. I know there's other driving apps like InDriver or DD Driver, which are work a little differently. You essentially set up a bid situation for your car, but I think Uber is just the way to go when it comes to Colombia. The third most important app to download in Colombia is called WhatsApp, and a lot of you already in America use WhatsApp. It's basically a Facebook communication app that is different from Messenger, but what I learned is that basically everyone in Latin America uses WhatsApp. Phone numbers do exist but aren't as common because cell service is really kind of uniquely, or really good cell service is kind of a uniquely American or Western thing. But in Latin America, every business had their WhatsApp posted on the front of it, as opposed to the US, we're used to seeing phone numbers. There was WhatsApp everywhere because that can be reached from computer. If you're looking to communicate anyone, whether it's setting up a car from a hotel, getting a restaurant reservation, whatever it happens to be, they're going to be using WhatsApp. So download WhatsApp, get your WhatsApp set up. They're all going to have that +82 Colombia area code. Go ahead and enter that in when you're putting in the number, and you should be able to now contact any of the hotels, restaurants, drivers that you're going to be doing business with. And that's just the way they roll down there in Latin America. So go ahead and use your WhatsApp. You're not going to be using your cell phone number nearly as much. And if you're using Airlo, which only gives you mobile data anyways, WhatsApp is actually a very convenient way for you to contact everybody while you're down there. There's not a person I didn't run into, not a Colombian national that I ran into that didn't have or didn't use WhatsApp. And it's almost like doubles as their Instagram because you can post stories as well. So it's very popular. Download it and you'll go ahead and fit in perfectly. And the fourth most important app for visiting Colombia is an app called Rappi. And Rappi is essentially their version of DoorDash or Uber Eats, and it allows you to order food anywhere, and you'll notice the tons and tons of Rappi drivers on motor scooters and bicycles delivering anything from groceries to food from restaurants. It is really, really critical if you've got a late night craving in your hotel. And as everyone knows, food is very, very inexpensive in Colombia. I'll pull up some of my order history here. Here's some of my orders. I ordered from this place called Sandwiches El Jefe. It was a turbo order, so I paid extra to get it even faster. It was 37,950 Colombian pesos. That comes out to about $9-10. It's very, very cheap to get great food. Like, for example, I got a sandwich, I got some waters, I got some dessert. The delivery fee was 5,000 pesos. And I even put the turbo on it, which I think was an extra 3,000 or 4,000 pesos to make sure I got my order faster. Here's another one here. I got this from a place called Sports Wings in Medellin. It was a $100,000 Colombian peso order, and I ordered like 2 orders of wings and then some sauce and some desserts and like a couple extra waters. It was 100,000 pesos. That comes out to about 25, 23 American dollars. So dirt cheap. That would have cost me, I don't know, maybe $80, $90 on Uber Eats in America, maybe even more than that. So go ahead if you have late night cravings there, you don't want to go out at night for whatever reason, or you just need some waters late at night because you won't be drinking the tap water that much. Go ahead, download Rappi. Very easy to set up. I just entered my card, you put in your address, and bam, you have access to a ton of food and grocery options in the country of Colombia. And then number 5, the app I think you should download is Google Translate. A lot of you already have this app on your phone, but if you don't have it already, I would go ahead and download that. Unless you know quite a bit of Spanish or you speak Spanish, like I speak Spanish okay. I didn't really need it that much. But for people who don't know any Spanish, which I wouldn't really recommend Colombia as a starter country if you don't know Spanish, but if that happens to be you, download Google Translate. That's going to be really useful for you learning some words, picking up some words, or just trying to convey like a complex idea to somebody when your basic Spanish and their basic English is not really getting by. There's not a lot of English speakers in the country of Colombia. Maybe in some of the major cities, some of the people working at the hotels or the high-end places will speak some English, but I rarely ran into anyone that I felt like was fluent in English. Spanish is their language, and everyone speaks it. And Colombians speak fairly good Spanish. I feel like it's fairly easy to understand, except in some of the coastal areas where the accents are pretty thick. It's not like I didn't have a tough time, hearing it, but if you don't speak any Spanish, you're going to need some form of a translation app to get through some of the conversations in, just some of the places. So download Google Translate, you can speak into it, and then it can convey the message, you can type it. You can even use the camera setting to view menus or things that you can't read properly in Spanish. So go ahead and download that app, and I think that's going to be really quite useful for you. So those are my top 5 apps for visiting Colombia. If you have any questions, leave it in a comment down below. I have a bunch of other videos on traveling to Colombia right up there in terms of transportation, hotels, how to do it on a budget. So go ahead and check those out there if you're interested. Thank you so much for watching. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time.